Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday afternoon from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over the airwaves of Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. The number to call up, as always, is 888-MAD-DOG-6. That's 888-623-3646. Got a lot of stuff to get into today. The Olympics in Rio, the opening ceremonies are tonight. Looking forward to talking about that. I'm coming at you live from Tampa Bay Buccaneers camp. Looking forward to talking to you about that and the NFC South. Gerald McCoy, star for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, will be on the show before we expire around the 3 o'clock hour this afternoon and pass it off to the afternoon drive show that is Mad Dog Russo's. We'll be talking about a lot of different things as it pertains to the NFC South and in particular the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Of course, we're going to get into that, and we'll get into this story that Leonard Marshall and other former players of the NFL have appealed to the league office to embrace the use of marijuana due to its medical benefits. I'll be talking about that, too, in the minutes to come, right here on Sirius XM. Stephen A. Smith Show, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82. First order of business to get into is Russell Westbrook. He had a press conference yesterday. It was a star-studded, it was a fan affair. Folks came out in droves in Oklahoma City for a press conference that Russell Westbrook had with Sam Presti sitting right beside him, the general manager for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Sam Presti sitting right behind him. Russell Westbrook came out and spoke about signing and re-signing with the Oklahoma City Thunder, 3-year, $85 million extension, essentially a 2-year extension on top of the year that he had coming up, got an extra $9 million for this year. And Nuno, do we have any sound on that? Because Russell Westbrook spoke on a few issues involving Kevin Durant, involving Kevin Durant deciding to move on, etc. Nuno, do we have any sound on that? Listen to Russell Westbrook yesterday at his press conference, talking about why he signed, talking about Kevin Durant, talking about remaining a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is Russell Westbrook, one of the top 5 players in basketball. Listen to him.
Obviously, me being able to come back here is a true blessing. There's nowhere else I would rather be than Oklahoma City. You guys have basically kind of raised me. I've been there since I was 18, 19 years old, and man, you guys did nothing but great things for me through the good and the bad. You guys supported me overall and through it all, and I appreciate it. And definitely when I had the opportunity to be able to be loyal to you guys, that's the number one option, and loyalty is something I stand by. So thank you guys, and I appreciate everything.
Did the fact that not only Kevin left, but it was to Golden State, did that make it sting even more?
Sting for who? You? Man, listen. I understand free agency. I understand, having an opportunity to go where we need to go. But once that happened, I told Sam, what's next? And to me, that's just my mentality to be able to find out now what's the next thing we need to do to help our team win. And that's all I'm worried about, is to be able to find ways for us to come in and figure out how we can continue to win game and be a great organization. I found out like y'all found out on the news, on the cell phones, the social media. I talked to Kevin, prior to, early on in the process, but nothing after. It's just a text message from him. That's about it.
I'll get into what Russell Westbrook had to say later. I was going to get into it now, but I have a special guest. He walked in just now, kind enough to join me. Wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the one and only Mike Evans is right in front of me. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well.
I appreciate it, man. Good seeing you. Good seeing you. Talk to me, Mike, about you guys' expectations for the season. When we last saw you guys, you finished 6-10. You lost the last 4 games of the regular season. Talk to me about your expectations for this year.
Our expectations are very high, and I think they should be, with the amount of talent we have on this team. The Bucs haven't been in the playoffs in about 10 years, and we're looking to change
13.
that. 13 years, 10 years or more, yeah. All right. Well, yeah, we're looking to change that, and we got the pieces to do it.
We look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and we see a guy by the name of Jameis Winston. He's the face of the franchise. Gerald McCoy and those boys can't stop raving about him. They've been around for a while. They can't stop raving about this kid. You're the wide receiver who catches the passes that he throws. Talk to me about Jameis Winston, what your thoughts are about him and what makes him so special.
Man, his work habits and the way he works, he's a tireless worker. I know people hear the stories about him. It's true. He beats everybody here and he leaves later than everybody. It's like I've never seen a guy like him before. He's a sneaky athletic guy. He's just a football junkie. And I know a lot of people say that, but it's true.
They tried to talk about him like he couldn't run. The next thing you know, I see the guy run for 6 touchdowns. Number 2 in the league behind Cam Newton at the quarterback spot for rushing touchdowns. Were y'all surprised to see that from him last year?
No, I wasn't. He showed it in college. I remember when they played Oklahoma State, his first game of his last year, he had like a 30-yard touchdown run or something like that, and he showed some juice, on that. So, he has a will. When he's running, he's a big guy, and he's very strong and hard to take down.
Talk to me last year when y'all lost the last 4 games of the regular season, New Orleans, St. Louis, Jay Cutler's Chicago Bears, for crying out loud. And then, of course, the 38-10, loss to the Carolina Panthers, the defending NFC champions. What was going on during the latter part of the year? Y'all seemed to be right there in the thick of things, and then all of a sudden tailed off. What happened?
Yeah, I said this earlier. I think, Quan Alexander, he had a fantastic rookie season, our linebacker. We lost him for 4 games at the end of the year last year, and that hurt us a lot. And then, myself, I wasn't making as many plays as I'm capable of making. That was throughout the whole season. I was up and down. And, this year it'll be a better Mike Evans.
Why was that the case with you? I mean, you had 11 drops. You led the NFL in that. We all know you could play. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. We all know that. But we're not used to seeing you dropping the ball. Not from watching you at Texas A&M. I can tell you that. What was going on last year? Why did that happen?
I don't. It's a lot of things that go into dropping passes and things like that. It was just my focus was off a little bit. The game slowed down for me and everything. It's just my focus was off. I wouldn't say I was complacent or anything like that. It's just my focus wasn't there, and I don't know what it was, but I'm doing everything to change that.
How do you get your focus on the right level, particularly on the NFL level? I know it might be a tough question for you because this is only going to be your 3rd year in the league, but at the same time, I just want to know, what have you learned over the first 2 years where you can identify where your focus needs to be, and more importantly, how do you get there?
You got to work. We got a new receiver coach came in, Todd Monken, and he's doing a great job. He's making me, our last receiver coach did the same thing, but he's making us work, before and after practice and during practice. When it's a special teams period, I'm not on special teams, so I'm getting extra catches. So I'm getting more catches than everybody. So I'm just working that. And
you're out there. Opposite side, Vincent Jackson has a couple of knee injuries last year, a couple of games because of those knee injuries. I'm looking at Severian Jenkins, and you know that he had a knee and back issue and all of this other stuff. To me, first of all, are those guys looking healthy right now? That's first things first. Are they looking healthy right now?
Yeah, they look better than I've ever seen them.
Okay. And secondly, without them on the field for any stretch of time, what level of pressure does that put on you in order to step up and produce? How difficult is it?
I don't believe in pressure. I know that the targets are going to come to me mostly, but when we get down to the red zone, especially, is when it's tough. Because I saw a lot of double teams last year. I think that's why my touchdown numbers went down a lot, because I was getting doubled much more. And, teams got to figure me out more coming, my rookie year, they didn't really much know about me, I'm sure. And then my second year, they keyed on me more.
Let's talk about you. What kind of skills do you think you have? I mean, 1,200 receiving yards last year. You had over 1,000 yards your rookie year, 1,051, even though you had 12 touchdowns then last year, which you just explained. But what is it about Mike Evans that makes him good? Because we saw you coming out of college. We knew you were going to be good, but you've looked better than a lot of us thought you were going to look.
Yeah, I'm learning how to play the receiver position more and more. I only played football my senior year in high school, so I always thought my ceiling was high. That's why I chose to play football over basketball. And, I'm sneaky fast, I think. And, I think I'm one of the most physical receivers in the game.
Talk to me about what you're seeing from the game as far as it pertains to receivers in this day and age. When you look at some of the receivers playing these games, is there anybody that you watch, anybody in particular that you try to emulate because they're so effective?
You know, when I was coming out of college, I told everybody I was emulating Brandon Marshall. You know, I watched a lot of Brandon Marshall because he plays so physical, and I wanted to be just like that. I knew I couldn't be like Randy. You know, he's my favorite receiver, but
Randy Moss,
his D ball, yeah,
right.
Randy Moss. You know, nobody can take the top off the defense like him. But I tried to emulate Brandon Marshall a lot. But, I just play as hard as I can and be physical and try to dominate the DBs.
Now, they got you here. You listed 6'5". I can believe that because you look 6'5". They got you here about 231. You lost some weight? You don't look 231 pounds, bro.
No, I lost weight for sure.
Yeah.
My first 2 years, I was playing between 235, 240.
Why lose the weight?
So I can run faster and run longer. You know, in college, the best I've ever felt, was my redshirt freshman year. I was about 217, and I felt like after games, I feel like I could have played another game. I'm trying to get back to that, and I'm more effective, when I'm in better shape and I'm less heavy.
Only reason I ask that question is because those of us who never play football, ain't think about playing football, don't want to play football on any level because we ain't trying to get hit. Okay, I mean, we see how violent and how physical the game of football is, and the belief is the more weight you have on you. The more you'll be able to absorb the punishment that comes your way. I was looking at Jameis. He lost about 18 pounds after hanging out with Tim Grover, my man Tim Grover. He lost about 18 pounds. I'm like, Tim, you sure this is wise for him to lose this week? At the quarterback spot taking those hits? And it's like, why is that?
Yeah, Mr. Grover's a great trainer, but it's about your mindset. At the end of the day, it's your mindset. There's bigger guys that get smacked around. And there's smaller guys that can take the hits. Like Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham. They're smart with their bodies. And they can take hits. I'm a bigger guy. I can take hits. And things like that. But I'm slimming down because I want to be able to run and know how to get down when I need to.
What's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to do this year? Because I'm thinking, the NFC South.
Yeah.
There's Cam and it's Carolina. And then if you want to make the playoffs, either you got to beat them and win the division, or you got to win about 10 games or more to make the playoffs as a wild card. What do you think you got the better chance of doing, winning the 10 games or beating Cam and the Carolina Panthers?
I think we can do both. We're ready for the season. We know we can beat those guys. They're a great team. Don't get me wrong. Went to the Super Bowl. Cam Newton, one of the best players in the game. But I think we can beat those guys at least 1 out of 2 times. And then the 10 games, we just got to put ourselves in position to be in it at the end of the game.
What kind of potential you believe you have as a receiver, becoming a big-time receiver in this game?
I think I could be one of the best in the game. If I just get my focus right, I don't think nobody can stop me.
How much does Cam Newton factor into that equation, knowing that he's throwing you the football? Not Cam Newton, but Jameis Winston. I'm sorry.
How does he factor in?
That's right.
No, he wants to give me the ball. Especially when I get hot. I think if you watch me play, you can see games that I can take over. When I get hot, when I get rolling early, it's hard to stop me.
Do you anticipate that Doug Martin will be getting most of the touches because he ran the ball a lot last year, averaged nearly 5 yards a carry, run for over 1,400, about 1,400 yards. But if you're Tampa, do you want to throw the football more, or do you want to run it as much as you did last year?
We had some success, when he was running well, it opened up the pass game more. So I think, that's how it starts. That's what team we are, I think. We run the ball first, and then it'll open up our pass game. Before
I let you get on out of here, you started Texas A&M. I gave a speech down there last year. Hung out with Coach Sumlin for a while. The brother big time, no doubt about it. Those facilities are unreal. I mean, it's special down at Texas A&M.
It's crazy. They weren't there when I was there. Right when I left, they got them. That's crazy, right?
So you missed out on the perks,
Missed out on all of it.
Listen, before I let you get on out of here, man, let me ask you, first of all, when's the last time you spoke to your man, Johnny Manziel, and how's he doing?
I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago. He's doing all right.
Right. Are y'all looking out for him, like just checking on him, staying on him, hoping? Where are y'all at now with him? Just hoping that he gets everything in order, or hoping that he gets back to the NFL? Where are you guys at with him? His friends, I'm talking about.
Whatever he wants to do.
I know he feels about you.
Whatever he wants to do. I talked to him about that. Just whatever you want to do, you can do it. Just silence out all the naysayers and all those people that don't know you, that are on the outside looking in. Just do what you want to do and what makes you happy. And, I'm trying to get him to get his life together.
Right.
If football comes, that's great. If not, so what? He's one of the best college players ever.
My last question to you is, do you leave it at that, or do you find yourself worried about him? Because we don't know. Like you said, we don't know him. We just wish him the best, because nobody's wishing for him.
He's a smart guy, so I don't think he'll do nothing too drastic or anything like that. But, I'm not worried. But, I think that, my words, hopefully I can get in touch with him more and more and then help him, see through this.
I got you.
Yeah.
All the best to you, my man. Good luck.
I appreciate it, boss.
Good to see you, my man. Mike Evans right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. I'll get back to Russell Westbrook and what he had to say about Kevin Durant and staying in Oklahoma City and all that stuff in just a minute. It's Stephen A. It's Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82. Past hour number one back here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Sorry I had to abruptly veer off my point, my initial opening on Russell Westbrook in his press conference yesterday, but Mike Evans, wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, walked right in the studio, so I had to sit down and talk with him instantly because you don't get those interviews every day. Mike Evans, wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Thanks again to him for coming on the show. Going back to Russell Westbrook, during his press conference yesterday, he spoke about a few things. Staying with Oklahoma City, why he elected to do so, what his thoughts about Kevin Durant departing, and had he heard from Kevin Durant. Listen to what Russell Westbrook had to say yesterday in front of Oklahoma City fans who had come out to see his press conference, announcing that he was indeed staying in Oklahoma City at least a couple of more years. Listen up.
Obviously, me being able to come back here is a true blessing. There's nowhere else I would rather be than Oklahoma City. You guys have basically kind of raised me. I've been there since I was 18, 19 years old, and man, you guys did nothing but great things for me through the good and the bad. You guys supported me, overall and through it all, and I appreciate it. And definitely when I had the opportunity to be able to be loyal to you guys, that's the number one option, and loyalty is something I stand by. So thank you guys, and I appreciate everything.
Did the fact that not only Kevin left, but it was to Golden State, did that make it sting even more?
Sting for who? You? Man, listen. I understand free agency. I understand, having an opportunity to go where we need to go. But once that happened, I told Sam, what's next? And to me, that's just my mentality to be able to find out now what's the next thing we need to do to help our team win. And that's all I'm worried about, is to be able to find ways for us to come in and figure out how we can continue to win game and be a great organization. I found out like y'all found out on the news, on the cell phones, the social media. I talked to Kevin, prior to, early on in the process, but nothing after. It's just a text message from him. That's about it.
There you have it. And that's where my problem lies. I'm on the record. I thought it was weak on the part of Kevin Durant to decide to go to Golden State, the team that beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, and I stand by that. Doesn't make him a bad guy, doesn't make him a criminal, doesn't make him any of those things. I just think that you up 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals on a team and you lose that series, you don't turn around and join them. I don't think that's what a superstar should do. I think it's the weakest thing that I've seen by a superstar. The second weakest thing might be Kevin Durant not even picking up the phone to call Russell Westbrook and let him know. Now, some people might sit up there, some people might sit up there and say, oh, come on, Stephen A., come on now, you reach it. No, I'm not. I'm absolutely not. Here's the deal. Every single time somebody had a question about Russell Westbrook, it was Kevin Durant that was coming to his defense. It was Kevin Durant who called Mark Cuban an idiot. It was Kevin Durant who used to attack my man Skip Bayless. It was Kevin Durant who attacked the media, whoever talked about Russell Westbrook. My little beef, if that's what you want to call it, with Kevin Durant had nothing to do with Russell Westbrook. That's why I didn't bring my name up. That was about me saying that he was possibly going to leave, and I was hearing about L.A. because at the time that's exactly what I was hearing. Wasn't Golden State in the equation. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that had nothing to do with Russell Westbrook. That was about me. That was about him. But other media, Skip Bayless, and Mark Cuban, when Kevin Durant went off calling him an idiot. All of those things happened. Kevin Durant was more than willing to speak up for Russell Westbrook like that was his little brother. And then when it came time to say goodbye, you don't even go see him? You don't give him a phone call? And I brought this up not for a comparison by any stretch of the imagination. But when Skip Bayless decided to take that money and go to Fox Sports 1, ladies and gentlemen, I knew weeks in advance because Skip told me. Now, maybe he could have told me sooner, but I certainly didn't find out by social media or a text message. I can tell you that. I knew about it before anybody else did. It's just something that goes along with it. What problem did we have with LeBron James? Yeah, LeBron James decided to go to South Beach. We can act like we have a problem with that all we want to. But the real problem that he really, really had is that he had that damn press conference and announced to the world he was taking his talents to South Beach. That was the real problem. It wasn't about anything else. It was about that. How you do things, how you handle things matter. It matters. And if you Russell Westbrook and you mean to Kevin Durant what Kevin Durant says, that's not how you find out news like this. I'm sorry. It's just not so. Does it make Kevin Durant a bad guy? Does it make him? No, it does not. And it says a lot about Russell Westbrook. You don't just throw away 8 years of friendship. Of course, we'll catch up. We'll talk. That's class on the part of Russell Westbrook. No doubt. And Russell Westbrook may very well have wanted this to be his own team all along. Let's not forget that element. And Russell Westbrook might be looking at new heights. Let's not forget that. I think he's my odds-on favorite to win league MVP next year. I'm picking Russell Westbrook to win league MVP. I mean, there's no doubt that there are a lot of elements that go into this story. But in the end, tell me what possible element could justify Kevin Durant not at least picking up the phone and telling Russell Westbrook, look, man, I decided I'm moving on. Rather than that brother finding out via social media. Something about that just stinks. There's no way around it. You can say it any way you want to. Something about that stinks. You can act like you don't know if you want to. Go ahead. Something about that stinks. When you work with people and they're your teammates and you go through those struggles, how you handle stuff matters. Because not only does it speak about your individual character, it speaks about what you do or do not feel about them. And the fact that Russell Westbrook said he heard it from social media and stuff like that, just like the rest of us, meant that Kevin Durant didn't look at him as any better than the rest of us. If you want to interpret it that way. So Russell Westbrook comes across looking great. He comes across looking like a rough rider. Willing to embrace and accept the challenge, having no intentions of folding whatsoever, being the uber ultra competitor that he is. Kevin Durant looks like somebody just trying to fit in, having a good time. And in the end, what it comes down to more than anything else is that Kevin Durant doesn't look good. Maybe the reason he did it is because he doesn't have as much love for Russell Westbrook as he portrayed, even though I don't want to believe that, because I do believe they're friends. But it is clear, like I said yesterday, he didn't want to play with him no more. He didn't believe in him. And my point is this. I can't justify that. I can't knock that, rather, because guess what? You got Steph Curry there. Is Steph Curry better than Russell Westbrook? Yeah. He's a better shooter. And he makes better decisions in crunch time, even though that wasn't the case in the finals. I just expected better from Kevin Durant as it pertained to Russell Westbrook of all people. And I don't think that's insulting or denigrating or disrespecting Kevin Durant to say that. It's just a fact. He could have done better, and he didn't. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. Just 888-623-3646. Definitely going to your phone calls up next with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. To call up, that's all. That's 888-623-3646. Getting to the phone calls as promised. No, who do we have on the line? Len in North Carolina. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's up?
What's going on, Stephen A? It's your boy from North Carolina. What's going on, man?
Well, I'm good. Talk to me, Len. How are you, man?
I'm doing outstanding. I'm moved from Utah, so I'm doing great. But there's a couple things I wanted to hit up with you real quick.
Yep.
First off, I ain't never seen you get beat down on first take like I saw this morning.
How did I get beat down?
Ryan got you, baby.
I thought I beat Ryan down. What are you talking about? What were you watching?
The first topic, I thought Ryan got you.
Oh, please, you're smoking crack.
That's my opinion, though, Stephen A.
Yeah, and it's wrong. And it's wrong. I destroyed him on that time.
You can't tell me I'm wrong on my opinion, bro.
I can. That's what you do all the time when you call up to talk to me. How y'all gonna tell me I can't tell you that?
I normally agree with you, brother.
Yeah, but there have been times, Lynn, that you called me up to disagree with me. How you gonna tell me I can't do that to you?
Hey, well, I got you. But the thing I wanted to talk to you about was the Kevin Durant thing. And here's my thing, though. I can understand if I'm a subordinate and I go to a senior and ask him, hey, should I do this? Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook are two of the top 5 players in the world. So should I go to a peer and say, hey, you know what? Do you think I should do this? So I agree with your point to a little bit. But, like when I was in the military, I used to ask my seniors, hey, should I take this job? Well, but they're my seniors. You see what I'm saying?
Len, let me tell you where I think you're misconstruing my point. I said nothing about Kevin Durant asking Russell Westbrook whether he should do something. I'm saying, look, Len, you and I are boys. We teammates for 8 years. I come to your defense all the time. You like my little brother. And then I leave, bro, and you find out I'm leaving like everybody else does. I don't even give you a call.
See, I agree with you on that point.
But that's all I was saying. I didn't say anything else. That's all I was saying. I was saying that, wait a minute, how you don't even give him a call? I mean, how are we tight and you can't even give me a call?
But, Stephen A., and here's my other point on that. If you got a career decision to make, are you going to call your boy Jeff?
Yes.
And say, hey, you know what? I need to.
Yes.
Okay,
but I didn't.
You're a different animal, bro.
But Lynn, we're not talking about. No, man, you're not understanding. We ain't talking about permission. I'm talking about informing. I'm saying, how does Russell Westbrook find out when Stephen A. found out? How does Russell Westbrook find out from the Players Tribune? How am I your man? And you don't pick up the phone and call me and make sure I know first. How?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Like I said, I agree with you. I agree with you a little bit, but I disagreed a little bit because I was looking at it from a supervisor to a subordinate. No. You're looking at it as, your boy, like you said, with Skip, you knew about Skip. And Skip said, hey.
Listen, I didn't know about, and let me tell you something, Lynn. I didn't know about Skip as soon as I wanted to. I believe I should have known sooner. But I will tell you this. He told me before he told anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that I didn't find out when everybody else found out.
And that's my man. Hope he's doing well. But, Stephen A., love you, brother. And, I had another one real quick.
Go ahead.
I found these things. They're called they're magnets that will hold your pocket square up. If you put one side on the inside of your jacket, one side inside the pocket square pocket, they will hold it up. You don't see your daggone magnets, and it'll hold it up.
I got you. Appreciate the call, buddy.
Someone else's problem.
Thank you, my man. Thank you so much. Let's go to Wilson in Texas. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's up, Wilson?
Hey, Stephen, how you making out?
I'm good. Thank you for calling.
Listen, maybe you can explain this to me. Why is it that hardly any of your colleagues are not understanding why you're saying that what Kevin Durant did was a punk move? I mean, it's common sense. I mean, you don't go to the team that you lost to, that you should have beaten, and then you go to them when you have, free agency. I don't understand. Maybe you can enlighten me why people are not agreeing with you.
Because sometimes people, have a distaste for you or whatever the case may be, and they don't listen to what you say. They try to finish your sentences for you. You ever run across those people? They don't literally,
all the time.
they don't quote you and hold you accountable for specifically what you say. They hold you accountable for what they interpret it to be. Like they say, oh, Stephen A. had a problem with Kevin Durant leaving OKC. The Oklahoma City Thunder know I had no problem with Kevin Durant leaving them. Okay? That was Charles Barkley. That was Reggie Miller. My problem was with him leaving the team leaving for the team that beat him. If he had beaten the Golden State Warriors and then decided to join them, I couldn't say anything. That's his choice. But you lost to them after being up 3-1. How the hell are you joining them? There's a difference, Wilson.
And he was a part of the reason why they lost 3-1.
That's right,
which
Game 6.
Also makes it. Exactly. And number two, real quick. To me, it's common courtesy, it's common practice that he should have been man enough to tell Russell Westbrook, look, man, I am going to go to Golden State. Whatever the reason why he was leaving, he should have been man enough to just tell him up front, yo, I love the 8 years we had, but I'm moving on. That way, Russell Westbrook would have known before anybody. And then we ain't got to worry about all these questions that are being brought up.
That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that it says a lot about Kevin Durant with his unwillingness to do such a thing. It really, really does.
It just sounds to me like he is a man that just doesn't like confrontation or just doesn't like controversy, in my opinion.
I got you. Well, he better learn to like it because he ain't gonna win a championship unless he gets hardened in that regard. I can tell you that. Let's go to April. April in Oakland. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. April, good afternoon. How are you?
How are you, Stephen A.?
I'm great. Thank you for calling. How's the weather out there?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Okay,
I've been trying to reach you since the semifinals and on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I got a couple of things to say because you hate my Dubs and my Cowboys.
I don't hate your Dubs. I don't hate your Dubs.
Well, okay.
Not at all.
Well, it ain't. You're not falling all out for them.
Say what?
But listen, I said you're not falling all out for them.
No, I mean, listen,
right.
I love Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry's the greatest shooter I've ever seen. I think that him and Klay Thompson is the greatest shooting backcourt I've ever seen. I love me some Draymond Green. Do I like the fact that they got rid of Mark Jackson? No, but Steve Kerr is still a great coach, and Joe Lacob is a great owner.
That's true. But listen, let me talk to you. You are good. I like you. I love you. I follow you. But Kevin Durant doesn't owe anybody anything. Listen, yes, him and Westbrook was boys, okay? But this man is chasing a ring, right? I agree with your caller from the military. If you contemplating a decision at work, because even though they're boys, this is a business and this is work. You don't announce to your employer you're leaving until after you made your move and made your decision. You can let your boy know later. I understand it's not the most professional and respectful thing to do, but business is business.
But wait a minute. April. Stop. Come on, April. You know what I'm trying to say here. You're Kevin Durant. That's been your man for 8 years. And you leave and he finds out via tweet and social messaging like the rest of us? Come on, April. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do anything.
He may have not wanted it out there.
Wait a minute.
He may have been
whoa, April. Do you have friends?
What?
April, do you have friends?
Yes.
What's your best friend's name?
My best friend's name is Tracy.
Let's say, for example, you told Tracy something. Do you really have to worry about it getting out there if she's your friend?
You don't, but leaks happen. Sometimes a friend tells a friend and tells them, don't say nothing, and then everybody knows.
But what I'm saying is, but April, you could have said he posted a note on a players union around 10:30 or 11 o'clock that morning. You couldn't have called Russell Westbrook at 10 o'clock?
He could have, but you know what?
Come on, April.
Vilify him. Let's don't vilify him.
I'm just saying that was weak. It's not vilifying him.
Okay.
It's not vilifying. It's that I think, like I said, going to Golden State, going to the team that beat you. I just think it's a weak move. I have no problem with him leaving OKC. I have no problem with him leaving OKC.
Well, let me ask you this: when Deion Sanders, Ken Norton Jr., and T.O. left the 49ers throughout their career and went to the rival Cowboys, was it a sin?
Excuse me, Deion left after beating the Cowboys and winning a Super Bowl.
I understand, but
that's what we're saying. But April, that's what we're saying. I'm saying to you, what did I say? What were my words? This is what we were just talking about with the previous callers. People sit up there and misconstrue my words. I specifically said I'd have no problem if Kevin Durant had went to the Warriors had he beaten them. But to lose to the team and join them is something entirely different. Primetime Deion Sanders beat the Cowboys, won the Super Bowl, and then decided to go to the Cowboys and help deliver them a championship. If anything, he looked better, not worse, because he's the reason they lost to him, and then he helped them beat somebody else.
Okay, but wasn't that Cole as a Niner?
He beat him.
If I'm a Niner, I understand. What I'm saying is he won a Super Bowl with the Niners. He left them. Then he went to the Cowboys, won a Super Bowl. I'm saying if I'm a Niner, I don't care that you left us and went to that team and now you got another ring.
But April, you're changing my argument. That's irrelevant to what my point is. My point is you're calling me up because of my position. That has nothing to do with my position. My position, April.
Well, I'm just trying to talk to you. I've just been trying to talk to you for the last year. Because you be off the hook.
I got you. But my position, April, is that you don't go to the team that beat you. Now, if you beat them, that's different.
You're going to get a ring. Yes, you do.
Okay. Well, we differ there, April.
Yes, you do.
We're going to have to respectfully disagree. And I appreciate the call. Right. And I want you to call back anytime.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Take it easy. 888 Mad Dog 6 is the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. So April was just trying to get at me for the last year to talk to me about a bevy of things. And in this particular instance, what April is saying is that, hey, Kevin Durant trying to get a ring. And if you got to join them, go ahead and join them. It's all right. That's what she's saying. And I'm saying I respectfully disagree with that. I don't believe in that. That's not how I feel. I got it. That's all. But she's not wrong. She's entitled to her feelings. We just have a different perspective on it. But she's not wrong. I appreciate the call, April. Call back anytime. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. More of your phone calls in a minute with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Lending me the crock pot. I used it to make my favorite chili. End quote. You're welcome, Dana. Make sure you bring some down next time, okay? Even with a full kitchen, you're not expected to pack a blender, toaster oven, or, well, a crock pot. That's why Candlewood Suites has everything from small kitchen appliances to board games for you to borrow anytime. If you're ready for all the basics you'd expect, plus a genuine staff always willing to help, book your next stay with Candlewood Suites. Find out more at candlewoodssuites.com. Candlewood Suites. True, genuine people. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Back to the phones we go. Let's go. Let's see here. Let's see who we have here. Let's go to Corey in Texas. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's up, Corey?
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Smith. Good to talk to you again.
Thank you. What's up?
I'm just calling just to say that I feel as a fan, I really feel cheated because when I found out that Victor Oladipo was going to OKC, I wanted to see that matchup in the Western Conference Finals. Me being a Spurs fan, but as a basketball fan, I felt that matchup would have been a great matchup because I really think Oladipo is a very good player. You know, he ain't no scrub in your words. The other thing I wanted to know is get your take on how far do you feel that the Texans can go this year, the Houston Texans.
Well, I think that depends on Brock Osweiler to answer your second question. Since DeAndre Hopkins is in camp, you got to look at their team right now. Lamar Miller came over from Miami, and you got Brock Osweiler. If Bill O'Brien can work his magic and Brock Osweiler is better than we expect, then Houston could very well make the playoffs because even though Indianapolis is expected to be better because, Andrew Luck is coming back and he's going to be fully healed from all those ailment of injuries he suffered from, the reality is that it's still a question mark in Indianapolis. And so I got to give Houston. I mean, I'm still going to give Indy a slight edge because I think Andrew Luck is going to be better than Brock Osweiler.
All right. I can live with that.
All
right, Mr. Smith. Well, you take it easy. Thanks for the call.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate the call. Let's go to Kellen in Tennessee. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's up, Kellen?
Hey, Stephen A. How you doing?
I'm good. Talk to me.
All right. Well, I had a couple questions. I watched First Take basically religiously, and when Kevin Durant got traded, I also thought it was a really weak move, agreeing with you. But, you and Skip talked a lot about him possibly going to L.A., and I really just wanted to know your initial reaction to him, signing the 3-year extension with OKC.
Well, we were all a little bit shocked because we had been hearing about him in L.A. for the longest time. It was a possibility that he was going to stay in OKC because that's where you could get the most money. There's no doubt. He's going to be able to sign in excess of $200 million. When you look at the team right now, Steven Adams, Enes Kanter, Victor Oladipo, to have them on a roster with you, that ain't too damn shabby. Is it the Golden State Warriors? No. But it's not shabby at all. It could very well come down to, when you just look at Oklahoma City against Golden State, I don't think that Oklahoma City will usurp the Spurs. But what if Oklahoma City got a seeding that called for them to meet Golden State before they got to the Spurs? It could get very, very interesting.
Exactly, and I just wanted to ask one quick question. If you think that the Miami Dolphins can get to be relevant again this year?
No.
You don't?
Well, it's not an expert opinion. I don't know enough about them because watching the Jets, watching Buffalo, watching the New England Patriots, the Miami Dolphins have been essentially irrelevant, and you assume that to some degree until you see personnel moves that would indicate otherwise. When I look at the New England Patriots, I think about Tom Brady. I think about what they have in place, and I think about, just what they're willing to do to get it done. When I think about Buffalo, I think about Tyrod Taylor. I think about LaShawn McCoy. I think about Sammy Watkins. When I think about, the New York Jets, I think about the young boys that they have over there. And then from an age perspective, Fitzpatrick with Brandon Marshall doing his thing. And, I just see Miami as being one of those teams that's going to be in the battle, but ultimately they're going to end up in the cellar of the AFC East. That's what I see.
All right, Stephen A. Thanks for your time, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the call. Let's go to Mark in Toronto. You're live with Stephen A. Amanda. What's up, Mark?
Stephen A. Smith, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Talk to me.
Yeah, quick thing. So, number one, love to get your opinion on the few moves the Toronto Raptors have made this offseason with re-signing DeMar DeRozan, obviously number one. And then number two, filling the Bismack-Biyombo hole with Jared Sullinger.
Well, I don't think Sullinger makes up for Biyombo because Sullinger is a below-the-rim player, and I don't see him being nearly as effective as Biyombo defensively, so I think that's a downer. I think signing DeMar DeRozan, you had to because of what they are building in Toronto and because of the likelihood of them being able to go out and get someplace else. DeMar DeRozan knew that as long as he was willing to stay in Toronto, they would give him whatever he wanted. And so he
what piece do they have missing to be relevant to really compete against the Cavs? Because we're all heartbroken here in Toronto.
Me personally, I think whether it's at the 3 or the 2 position, they need a sniper from long range. The fact that your shooting guard, DeMar DeRozan, doesn't shoot threes is a problem, because then you don't ever have to worry about him being a threat to spread the floor. That makes life tougher on Kyle Lowry or anybody else. You know, they got to be able to spread the floor. That's the number one priority they have to be able to do.
We're hearing DeMarcus Cousins rumors out here with Valanciunas and
that ain't happening.
Like that.
That ain't happening. That ain't happening. Vlade Divac will hold on to DeMarcus Cousins to his last breath because he knows he doesn't have a franchise without him. And remember, they're moving into a new arena soon. There's no way. I can't see that happening. I appreciate the call, though, man. Thank you so much. I just don't see that happening. DeMarcus Cousins leaving before you have to let him go? Hell no. He's the best big man in basketball. You got to hold on to that for dear life personally, unless you have no other choice whatsoever. Hour number 2 up next. I'm getting ready to touch on recruiting or transfer restrictions on a part of college football players. You'll be very interested in what I have to say. This Stephen A. Smith Show here with you until the top of the 3 o'clock hour when I pass it off to the namesake for the channel, Christopher Mad Dog Russo Afternoon Drive Show. He's on vacation, but his show will be on at 3 o'clock, so tune in. Make sure you listen to it. I'll get back to your phone calls in a little while, but for now, it is my honor and privilege to have my next guest on the line. Played in the NFL for 8 seasons, was a running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Chicago Bears, has been a football analyst at ESPN since 1996. I don't know anybody that knows more football. He certainly taught me many, many things over the course of my career at ESPN watching football. My friend, my buddy, the one and only Merle Hodge is right on the line with me right now. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I could not be better, brother. Driving into Latrobe, about ready to do a little Steeler camp, my friend.
I was just there a few days ago. I was just there a couple of days ago. I had to cover Steelers camp there. I spoke to Mike Tomlin, Antonio Brown, and the whole crew, Merle.
Yeah, I saw you, baby. I saw you. We're going to do a little Friday Night Lights here tonight. So this is their annual.
Let me ask you this question. How legitimate, or I'll put it to you this way. How much has Martavis Bryant's 1-year suspension, along with Le'Veon Bell's imminent 4-game suspension, jeopardize the Steelers' title hopes?
Well, it's significant. Let me just throw another guy in there that nobody talks about that I'm telling you is probably the glue to the whole thing and is a huge void is Heath Miller. No Heath Miller there. Getting ready to do this camp, I went back and just looked at like all their third down plays, and the significance of a Miller. What does Antonio Brown bring to them on every play? Bryant bring to them on every play? Bell, Williams. I'm going to tell you this. Heath Miller is one of those guys where he's not going to be on SportsCenter many times, but on Monday, he is the guy that all your teammates and coaches are like, gosh, you bailed us out. Man, that play there, we may not win. Now, it's not going to be on SportsCenter because that's for Ben and Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. That void's big.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. Bro. What about Ladarius Green and the notion that because he's bigger, he's faster, particularly running downfield, it might be a welcomed addition to their squad?
Could be an addition, but here's what you don't have, and I'm talking about these type of plays, just the chemistry he has, how he uncovers, how he gets open, the things that he does, the subtle things, especially in scoring territory or on first down or where Ben gets in trouble, that goes unnoticed, that you can only really notice when you watch tape, that you see them, and they're gone. Now, he may bring that, but how do you develop that chemistry and those other things that are critical to drives and critical to games? It's not just the big plays that are critical. It's all those other plays that sustain things. The keys that help you get the big play. What are the other players doing to help the big play? That's what Heath Miller did so many things of. Not just in the passing game, keep in mind. The running game, they're a 3 tight end formation a lot. He was the lead blocker or the kick out guy or the dig out block guy a lot. That guy's got to be smart and knows what he's doing. He did. Teaching a guy to do that, have no experience in doing that hurts your running game. There's just a lot of things that it's a big void. It's a big void. That is, to me, is a much bigger concern. When you look at D'Angelo Williams, I mean, and the drop off from him and Le'Veon Bell, it's not a lot. Le'Veon's obviously special, could end up being the best runner in football when it's all done this year. But having D'Angelo there for 4 games, that's not worried. Brian?
Merrill, are you there? We're losing you, Merrill. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, buddy.
All right, you're here. And also, if your window's down a little bit, roll it up for me, buddy. Just trying to make sure we hear you clearly, all right? We're talking to Merrill Hodge right here with Stephen A., Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Go ahead and finish that thought, Merrill.
Well, I'm just saying, you mentioned Bryant, and that's a big void. It's an explosive void. And when you look at him and Brown together, it's a very difficult way to defend them because you can't double everybody. Well, you don't have to worry that concern anymore. But even when you double Antonio, it doesn't mean you're going to win. I mean, I could give you hundreds of plays where they double him and he still scores touchdowns and gets first down. So, listen.
Yeah.
When the Steelers are all said and done this year, they could have the best quarterback, the best runner, and the best receiver all on the same team when it's all done. The top
and still lose, Merrill, because their defense stinks.
Well, their secondary is suspect. I'll tell you this: there was, some things that happened last year that kind of went unnoticed. Their linebacker depth is awesome. Bud Dupree really emerged and started to become a better football player in the midst of the season. And I'll tell you what the Steelers have done, and I don't know how many other teams do this, Stephen A., which I'll be interested to see if a lot of the teams that run a 3-4, meaning 2 inside linebackers, 2 outside linebackers, they have 2 separate coaches for those positions. Jerry Oslavsky played inside linebacker for the Steelers forever. He coaches inside. Joey Porter coaches outside. And that specific coaching detail that Joey Porter has brought really helped Bud Dupree evolve. I expect him to really explode this year. That will be a significant difference in their defense. The secondary has a bunch of new guys. I don't think there's any question. The unknown is the unknown. But if they can improve their pass rush pressure with one guy and with their blitz schemes, that can neutralize some of that weakness that you have in the secondary.
We're talking to Merrill Hodge right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. When we think about the AFC, the team that we think is to watch out for, as the team to beat, some people would say the Steelers, most would say the New England Patriots, and the fact that Tom Brady is out for the first 4 games of the season due to the whole Deflategate suspension, people are of the mindset that Jimmy Garoppolo can go 2-2 or 3-1, and then Tom Brady comes back and he is going to wreak havoc because he's going to be on a mission because he's going to be so ticked off at what happened. What do you make of that possibility? What do you make of the Patriots?
Well, listen, I don't think there's any question Tom Brady will be ticked off, and, can he play at a higher level than he's been playing? That'd be very difficult. So you expect that. Let me just give you a little counsel about the first 4 games of the year versus the last 4 or the middle 4. The first 4 are the most difficult games in an NFL season for one reason. Everybody is still in it. Nobody's out of it. Everybody's undefeated on the first one. And so what if you're 0-2, you still got life. The first 4 games are always the hardest in the NFL. They got 2 divisional opponents. Garoppolo did not play well in the preseason last year. This preseason, it'll be interesting to see how he plays. And he failed at critical times. He failed in scoring territory to not play well. We'll see if he's matured there. Now they're going to have to manage that, obviously. But Garoppolo doesn't have the experience, nor, I think everybody goes, I'll check, he'll solve a problem. I don't think there's any doubt he's going to have a great game plan. But you don't replace the experience that you have with Tom Brady. You got 2 division games. The first 4 games are the toughest of the entire season. There's a chance these guys could be 1-3. Going into it. They could be 0-4 as he comes out. Then you're going to need Tom Brady to go on a tear. But I just don't think they'll be 3-1 or 2-2, no big deal. It's going to be difficult.
Merrill Hodge right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Who are you picking to end up behind Tom Brady in New England in the AFC East? Tyrod in Buffalo? Is it Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Jets? Is it Ryan Tannehill and the Miami Dolphins? Who are you looking out for in the AFC East?
Well, I'd like to see a team that had, a good team at the end of, the Jets. If I just picked one team, the Jets, based on Fitzpatrick being back, the growth and what they have as far as phases to their team. I like them. I don't like it that they lost Ivory. I will tell you this, that's a significant blow. That hurts them because he does so much to control the tempo for them offensively, which is the most vital thing to do in the NFL. If you can't do that, hard to win consistently. But I like them. I still like them. What they've got on both sides of the ball and all the phases that they have to make a run and a challenge to the Patriots.
Are you looking at Denver? Peyton Manning wasn't great last year. Had 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Looked absolutely awful, but they still won the Super Bowl. What about now that Mark Sanchez and Paxton Lynch is there? What are your thoughts about the reigning defending Super Bowl champions?
Well, Paxton Lynch has got no shot. If they play Paxton Lynch, they will be they'll be done. One. If Sanchez is a complement to the offense, they got a chance because at the end of the day, that's ultimately what Peyton Manning did. Now, one thing that's been lost with Peyton Manning it's still not appreciated. Even though they took some of the offense away from him, he couldn't make as many consistent throws as he once did. He's one of the most, if not the smartest quarterback to ever play the game. He got them in good situations a lot, almost all the time with the running game. He constantly put them in great, favorable positions with his IQ of the game, handed the ball off where they needed to be. Okay, Sanchez is not at that caliber. Their running game will have to be much better than it was the year before. It comes back down to the thing I said in the very beginning. They have to control the tempo. If they do that with their running game, that gets improved. Because that was just average. It was average, but it was good when it needed to be good. And that defense, that plays at the same level, they will be a good football team. They're not going to be what they were last year. They'll have to do that just to stay in the ballpark and have a shot at the end. But it's still going to be difficult for them to get in the playoff race.
Merrill Hodge right here with Stephen A. Mad Dog Sports Radio. Is the NFC really about Arizona and Carolina, or is there anybody else we should be watching out for?
I've been saying this. I could think there's a few other teams that you gotta watch out for. And now a team that I'm going to think is going to be very interesting in the improvement is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The one problem that they have is early in the year they got to go to the West Coast like 3 times in their 7 games, and that's a tough deal. I don't know that I've ever seen that on a team that has to go to the West Coast that many times. Just off the top of my head, this might be right or wrong. I know they play San Francisco and the Rams, and then maybe San Diego, but
Seattle, San Diego, yeah.
Yeah, okay, Seattle. Tampa Bay, Seattle's not going to be – you can't sleep on Seattle. They're still a very strong football team in a bunch of different phases. I don't think it's just Carolina and Arizona and the rest of the game. There's still a lot of really good football teams. Seattle, I already mentioned them. Tampa Bay. Atlanta could be an interesting foe, especially if they've improved in their linebacking core defensive area and the scheme that they've tried to implement. If they've gotten better in that aspect, how they try to play football, they'll be improved. But I don't think it's just Cardinals and Carolina and forget the rest. There's still a lot of good football teams, as we mentioned.
I'm down here in Tampa at the Tampa Bay training camp. How are you feeling about this team right now? There was a defense that allowed quarterbacks to complete 70% of their passes against it last year, gave up 31 touchdowns. But on the offensive side of the ball, 31 receiving touchdowns. But on the offensive side of the ball, there's Jameis Winston, there's Doug Martin and his 1,400-yard carries. There's Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson and Austin Severian. I mean, you got all of these guys going on. How are you feeling about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now?
Well, you know what, Dirk Cutter. I don't know if you knew this. Stephen A. was my high school coach. He's one of the. When I talk about great minds of football, I would start with the Chuck Noll, and I would use Dirk Cutter in the same breath as far as just a really great football guy.
So it's a huge upgrade. So it's a huge upgrade for you from Lovie Smith to him.
Well, only for this reason. It's because of Jameis. New learning, new coordinators just ruin it ruins a player's career, but it really can devastate a quarterback.
Right.
And that was the significant reason there, Stephen A. Because I got great respect for Lovie Smith, with no doubt. I know Dirk better from an X and O element. That he's awesome. He's dealt with a lot of different people. But I'm going to go back to the key guy for them really is Doug Martin. He has yet to put 2 years back to back. I was glad they kept him because they do need to, and Dirk understands that's our linchpin. That's who's got to control the tempo of this game to help us on both sides of the ball. He's got to come up big. Their offensive linemen, you talk about, that was maybe the greatest story last year as far as vast improvement was their offensive line. It was the worst going into the year, the worst. And they emerged as not a bad offensive line. I mean, you could maybe take them in the top 10, especially the way they ran the football. So that's all that area's got to get better for them. Doug Martin has to have a duplicate year that he had because you're still not in a position where you can say, hey, Jameis, and this is kind of how the evolution of a quarterback is. Last year, we'd don't lose it for us, okay? This year, I might lean on you one or two. We might need you to help us win one or two. Nothing more than that. You can't step on him more than that because you're asking too much of him based on his experience. So if you get Doug Martin to duplicate what he did last year and even get a little better there, then the Bucks will be a team that's going to be dangerous. The problem will be that West Coast run that they got in their first 7 games. How do you manage that? And I go back to what I said in the beginning. The first 4 games of the year are the toughest of the year, the first 4.
Merrill Hodge right here with Stephen A., Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Merrill, I want to change course a little bit here. I got a quick question to ask you. Do you have a son that's playing college football?
Yeah. My son, Bo, plays quarterback for BYU.
I want to know what your feelings are about the transfer restrictions involving Nick Saban, Alabama. Kirby Smart didn't want to let A.J. Turman go and follow Mark Richt to Miami, et cetera, et cetera. I want to know what your position is as a parent, as a former football player, as a father who has a son playing college football as we speak. What are your thoughts about the conferences restricting the transfer of students like this?
Well, it's interesting, Stephen. I went kind of through that this year. Mo had thought about transferring from BYU based on the coaching changes. Their staff left. Yep. And it was so it was a possibility. Now, what was really awesome, and it comes down to BYU. BYU said, "Listen, A, we know how gifted he is. We understand because they had a senior who got hurt the first game of the year. He's coming back, so the quarterback position really got convoluted." And obviously would have been a lot cleaner if had Bo chose to transfer based on just football, but he chose to stay there because of a lot of other reasons. But in my conversations with BYU, they would have helped. They would have said, we understand, and they were going to help. So, I never ran into that experience. And when you get and the quarterback position is different than any other position in the sense of only one can play, and they don't rotate them out usually. Not like Ohio State last year. I mean, that guy's going to play, and that's the way it is. It isn't like you got 2 running backs. You can run 3 or 4 throughout the day. Receivers, you could play 8 if you get a lot of depth there. You don't have that luxury. Mm-hmm. So to hinder a guy from doing it, I just think it's very unselfish and insecure of a university if they're not going to do that.
It's very selfish and insecure. And you know what? Before I let you go, you know what the thing that just rakes my nerves, Merle? It's that here you are, if you're Nick Saban, who I respect the hell out of, but you got a guy like Maurice Smith who you're preventing from transferring, right? But Kirby Smart could be a defensive coordinator for you for 8 years. He can leave and go within the conference to coach Georgia, but the player can't go within the conference to go and play. So,
yeah,
there's not something like about that just smells.
It does. There's a lot of things in college football that can irk you and then turn you south. You look at some of the NCAA rules with, coaches. A coach can actually ruin just devastate a college, and they leave and go make more money somewhere else. And those kids have to stay and suffer and deal with the consequences. And none of them did anything. So it's kind of in the same lines with this. It's disturbing that they have that much control and they can ruin an opportunity for a kid to be able to, go play somewhere else versus just sit there. So
Merrill Hodge,
I'm with you on it, brother.
I got you. I appreciate you, man. I'll be watching you Friday Night Lights, Pittsburgh Steelers training camp, Latrobe, Pennsylvania. I'll make sure I check it out, buddy. All right, you take it easy.
Thanks, Jake. Bye-bye, brother.
You, man. Thank you so much. Merrill Hodge, the one and only Merrill Hodge, right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. 888 Mad Dog. This is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Gerald McCoy for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is coming on a little bit later, but not before I get to your phone calls in a minute. It's Stephen A. It's Sirius XM. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82. Smith Show is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, certified pre-owned vehicles. Visit mbUSA.com/CPO today to learn more about our unlimited mileage warranty. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. It's 888-623-3646. Let's go back to the phones before Gerald McCoy of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers comes on the show to join me. Let's see who we have here. Let's go to Larry in West Virginia. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's up, Larry?
Hey, Stephen A. Very honored to talk to you.
Thank you very much, man. Go ahead.
Hey, I have a couple of things. One thing is kind of an oddball thing to ask you, I guess, but my son, he's always used it's all come out of left field for me, and I'm sorry, but the conversation you had yesterday on the air, I'm a white man, and my son's obviously white. He wants to use the N-word all the time, but he doesn't use it with the strong or, racially, the strong, saying the strong way, the really wrong way of saying it, no matter what. But he uses with the A at the end. They're all trying to say Nigga, I guess is how you would spell it and how you would say it.
Go ahead.
And I'm not trying to disrespectful at all, sir. I'm just trying to ask your opinion of how you think I would get him to stop doing it. I mean, he's
well, tell him, sir, do you have any knowledge of why the word is so heinous and so incendiary when it comes to black people in this country?
Because of slavery, the way they're treated in the past back when.
Well,
before it.
And not just slavery, but I mean pre-civil rights days, post-civil rights days, and beyond. Regardless of what people want to, regardless of what people want to talk about as it pertains to black folks' comfort in using the word. Let me tell you something right now. If your son walks around thinking it's going to be okay to use it, particularly with anybody who happens to be black, he might find himself in very harmful situations in the future. Because even if he runs across one or two black folks that are not going to react in a certain fashion, emotionally or violently or whatever, chances are, more times than not, it's going to be something that one would say is very hazardous to his health. And so what you would do is you would educate them, enlighten them. And in fairness to you and your son, if black folks as a whole, if we didn't walk around using it with such comfort, even though, there's a reason we felt the need to do that, in this day and age, considering the sensitivity of our times and how people have misconstrued, that it's okay to use the word themselves, and that's why we really, really need to eradicate that from our vernacular. The reality is that you got to educate your son that it's going to be something that's going to work significantly against him in most situations, and perhaps violently. I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying somebody should just wail off and do something to your son because he makes that mistake. But there are black folks who will not hesitate to do that. It is not wise.
Can I say he uses it like he thinks he's a black man. He uses it in a. He doesn't use it in a racial, hurtful manner, but it's still a word he should use.
Nobody's going to entertain that, sir. Sir, hold on. You don't have to defend your son. How old is your son?
He's 19. I just want to make sure you know that.
Now, how old is your son?
In a racial manner.
How old is your son?
He's 19, sir.
Sir,
he's 19, sir.
I'm not assuming anything. I'm saying that at 19 years of age, your son has been around long enough to know how folks might react to that, regardless of his intent. So he just needs to stay away from it.
I have told him that.
Okay.
I just can't get through to him.
Well,
and I wanted to ask you what you thought about the Russell Westbrook, how he said, the reporter asked him how did it sting, and he said, sting for who? I just thought that was a classic remark, a classic way to answer that.
Well, he's not worried about it. He's not worried about it because he's an ultra competitor. Russell Westbrook's going to go after everybody. He's going to try to take them out. That's who he is. That's what makes him great. I got to run, but I appreciate the call, Larry. Thank you so much. Kendall in West Virginia, you're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Kendall, good afternoon. Hello? Kendall, are you there? Kendall, are you there?
Stephen A., can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Pleasure to talk to you. What I wanted to say, and a little bit of a defense with Kevin Durant, is that I believe that the emphasis that the media puts on separating how great a player is based on the championships that he's won is not only influencing a guy like Durant's decisions, but it really started with LeBron and the forming of the super teams, because the first thing that we as fans and media these days do is we separate how great the player is based on the championships that he's won. So therefore, when these guys get to free agency and they're in the prime of their careers, I believe that they look at this as an opportunity for them to extend their post-career as basketball players and their marketing opportunities by putting themselves in the best position to win a championship, because they can't take the risk of being like a Paul George and running into a stanchion, or even being looked upon like Charles Barkley or Reggie Miller, who all may be great players, but are a peg down because they don't have either one championship or multiple championships. So while I do agree with you that it was a weak move for him to go to Golden State, I can kind of see it from another angle, that it puts him in the best position.
We could all see it, sir. Nobody's refuting any of that. It just doesn't negate the fact that it was a weak move for a superstar, particularly in this day and age when Kevin Durant is going to be in position to sign for $200 million, not to mention the fact that he's got an additional $350 million coming from Nike, yet you're sitting there and trying to jump on the bandwagon of a championship when you're literally knocking at the front doorstep, okay, to capture it yourself, because the team that you were on, or any of the teams that you could have gone to. If Kevin Durant had decided to go to Miami with Hassan Whiteside and the crew, well, guess what? You're competing for a championship. Dwayne Wade might have stayed. Why? Because I might stay, accept a little less money, but I got another ring that I could possibly capture, and I can make up the money that way in endorsement dollars. You could have gone to New York with Melo and Kristaps Porzingis, even though that wasn't an ideal situation. You could have went to San Antonio with LaMarcus Aldridge and Kawhi Leonard with Greg Popovich coaching you, but you elected not to do that. You go to the team that beats you. We can explain it till the cows come home. It don't make it any prettier. It doesn't make it smell any better.
Thank you very much, Stephen A. I appreciate your time. Talk to you soon.
Take care of yourself. Thank you so much for the call. Let's go to Howard in Maine. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's up, Howard?
Hey, Stephen A. I was just wondering, out of Drew Brees and Ben Roethlisberger, who has had the better career, who is the better skill-wise quarterback, and who is going to have the better season this year?
Well, I would say Ben Roethlisberger is a better skilled quarterback because he could do more, meaning his scrambling ability, etc. Way he evades tacklers, extends plays, and things of that nature. I definitely think that. Plus, I think Ben Roethlisberger has had more success because he's had 2 Super Bowl rings and 3 trips to the Super Bowl. Drew Brees is a slightly more accurate thrower. I think he's an elite quarterback and a Hall of Famer, but you'd give him the slight edge in terms of his accuracy, but you'll give Ben Roethlisberger the edge in terms of talent and overall production. And I think that Ben Roethlisberger will have a better year this year than Drew Brees because Ben Roethlisberger is playing with a better defense. Drew Brees will score points, but the New Orleans Saints will stink because their defense won't be that much, whereas the Steelers, even though their defense has suffered, they seem to be coming together. But Dupree, Jarvis, Ryan Shazier, Timmons, and Tuitt and those guys, I definitely believe that the Steelers have a chance of having a much, much better season than Drew Brees and Saints.
Thank you, Stephen A.
Take it easy, my man. Let's go to Micah in Florida. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Micah, how are you?
I'm good, Mr. Smith. How are you? I just have a quick question for you about the bad man that is Aaron Rodgers. It seemed to me that after the Denver Broncos game, he may have come down with a serious case of megalophobia and fear inside the pocket. Is he going to overcome this coming this next season? Because I sure did see a difference after he got hit a couple times in that Denver game.
I didn't see that.
Oh, I saw against the Panthers on 4th down. I saw him afraid of shadows behind him and throw the ball away. I did not see the same Aaron Rodgers.
What I saw. Want me to tell you what I saw when I saw Aaron Rodgers? I saw a guy petrified, dancing in the pocket just like you did, but not because he was scared of the opposition. It was because his receivers couldn't get open. That's what I saw. I saw a Green Bay Packers team without Jordy Nelson, with receivers that couldn't get open. They had the 15th ranked defense. Aaron Rodgers, Micah, Aaron Rodgers had the 25th best passing attack in the entire NFL. Aaron Rodgers. Are you kidding me? Aaron Rodgers had an overweight Eddie Lacy. There was no Jordy Nelson. Randall Cobb was targeted 129 times, only caught 79 passes.
I still think he's going to see pressure. I still think he's going to see a lot of pressure next season, and it could still get to his head. I don't know. Well,
I don't think it got to his head. I just finished telling you, I don't give a damn what quarterback you are. I've seen Tom Brady dance in the pocket when pressure was mounting and guys couldn't get open. I don't think it was pressure. I think it's that guys weren't getting open. Randall Cobb, Ty Montgomery, Richard Rodgers. I mean, when you see some of these guys, Devontae Adams fell off, Alex Jones and veteran. Eddie Lacy came in overweight. Jordy Nelson beat Eddie Lacy from Johnny to go. These things are going to help Aaron Rodgers. He's going to have it. They don't.
Well, I agree to disagree because I definitely saw something upstairs that.
Okay, let me tell you, let me tell you what you got. You got that. I have an Aaron Rodgers, all right, that had his worst season in his NFL starting career since 2008. You know what he did? 3,821 yards, completed 60% of his passes, threw 31 touchdowns, interception of 6-4. That's what I definitely Aaron Rodgers.
Done to that offense to make you.
Jordy Nelson will help teams sit up there to respect their pass a little bit more where there's much pressure, but defensive line has to step up. Well, I'll give you that. I got to run. I appreciate the call. James in Florida, you're live with Stephen A. What's up, James?
Hey, how you doing, Stephen A?
Real quick, buddy, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know whether you have knowledge about the Olympic gymnastics or not, but
I do not.
I wanted. Okay, I just wanted your opinion about what I think, and I was agreeing with the coach on not putting Martinez in because Gabby won it 4 years ago, and from a competitive reason, they making this one young lady is the favorite, but Gabby probably wants to compete for her crown, and then the young lady who came in fourth, she wants the crown, so that makes it a competitive standpoint on that team. What do you think?
I don't know a damn thing about gymnastics and the Olympics. I won't pretend to know. I'm looking forward to watching it. I'll enjoy it, but at the same time, I'm really not looking forward to it because I wish they weren't at the Olympics. Between the Zika virus, between the fraud and security issues there, between the water that's equatable to raw sewage, between Brazil sharing their borders with 10 different countries, thereby it being a haven for terrorists. I hate the fact that these games are there. I find myself very worried and concerned, and I wish they had moved the Olympics to somewhere else. That is what I've been preoccupied with. I don't know anything other than the basketball team, and that I'll be watching some of the Olympics and gymnastics competition because I watch it every 4 years when the Olympics take place because I do enjoy watching that and swimming with Michael Phelps. That's about all. Mad Dog Russo's Afternoon Drive Show is up next. I'm signing off until Monday afternoon at 1 p.m. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Peace and love, everybody. By the way, Gerald McCoy, I apologize. I'm here thinking the show is over. I got Gerald McCoy coming up next. Where the hell am I going? I'm trying to get out of here 20 minutes early. My bad, y'all. Gerald McCoy up next.
The Stephen A. Smith Show.
Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. My honor and privilege to have my next guest with me. Man had 8.5 sacks last year. Best player on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by most accounts. Talk about the one and only Jerry McCoy right here with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Practice is over, so I'm chilling.
So practice is over this early? It's 12:15. How's practice over this early?
Man, we hit the horn goes off at 8:45. We off by 10:55. I'll take it.
Wow.
I will take it.
Wow. What's it like for you guys right now with Dirk Cutter as your head coach? Obviously, people are expecting some good things from y'all this year. Talk to me about what y'all expectations are.
Well, I had an opportunity to be around Coach Cutter last year, and I always said that he had head coach personality. He carried himself like a head coach even when he was a coordinator. So I even said last year he's going to be a head coach somewhere. Well, now that he's our head coach, I mean, it's almost like a smooth transition because we had an opportunity to be around him. It's just now he's more vocal to everybody. Last year was just the offense.
Is he somebody that naturally ascended to that position, or once Lovie Smith was relieved of his duties, did y'all get on the phone and say, wait a minute, we got to at least keep this guy, keep the continuity going? What role did the players play, if any, in him being your head coach right now?
We just sat back and let the guys upstairs decide, but when we heard it was Coach Cutter, everybody was like, oh, all right. Because it was like we were around him last year, so we know what he's capable of, and we just love the guy. We really do. Everybody did last year, even when he was the coordinator.
Gerald McCoy right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. Defensively last year, I mean, you lost the last 4 games in the season.
Right.
New Orleans, St. Louis, Chicago, and Jay Cutler. I won't hold that against you. I'm not going to get myself all wound up about Jay Cutler. And, of course, Carolina, the last game of the regular season. Allowed opposing quarterbacks to complete 70% of their passes. What was going on with this defense last year?
Last year, and to speak on those last games, that was hell on earth. It was bad. It felt bad. It looked bad. And when we left the season like that, this was a tough offseason for me. And the reason being, the front end and the back end were not on the same page. There would be times where the back end was not covering and we were rushing. There would be times where the back end was covering and we were not rushing. Rushing coverage has to work together in order to have a successful defense, and we just were not doing that. We were not on the same page. We were not clicking from the back end and the front.
For Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans everywhere, why should they believe this defense is going to be on the same page this year? What's changed?
Well, one, we have a new coordinator. He's been a success as a coordinator and as a head coach. And his style of play, if you notice, his defenses that he's always had, even in Atlanta, in Jacksonville, they've always been a successful defense. We have all the pieces in place, I truly believe. You can start with Levante David, our quarterback on the defense in Quan Alexander. You have a Pro Bowl cornerback in Brent Grimes. We have a first-round cornerback in Vernon Hargraves. We brought in a second-round pass rusher. Got another pass rusher, Noah Spence. Robert Ayers has a lot of experience. We got guys in the back end who have been playing. Now they're in a new scheme. And then if you throw myself in there, I believe we have all the pieces we need to make this defense work.
Gerald McCoy right here with Stephen A. Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio. The leader, the face of it. If you're not the leader of the team, everybody looks at you now, particularly Jameis Winston talked about you being the leader of this team, being as experienced as you are, accomplishing the things that you've accomplished, 4 straight Pro Bowl appearances. But when we look at the face of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise, they think Jameis Winston. Talking to you early on first take, it's almost like you think it's Jameis Winston, and more importantly, you have no problem with it whatsoever. Talk to me about what this guy's arrival has meant to this franchise and why.
Well, when you think about it, Jameis Winston, he was the first overall pick, and when guys come in whether they're the first overall pick or rookie, first round, whatever, you don't expect them to be the guy immediately. You want them to grow into that role, knowing at one point they will be. It was hard for him to sit back and not be that guy. I didn't expect it to happen until after his first season. He was already there by mid-season because when he came in, he attacked it full steam ahead. And what makes him him is it doesn't matter if you're the owners, the GM, the head coach, myself, whoever it is, he's going to be himself. And he doesn't let anybody get him out of that mode. He is the first person up here every day. And I know that for a fact because when I walk in the building, especially in season, I know I'm walking in by myself. And when I walk in, he's sitting in his locker already. He's either been lifting, he's been getting treatment, he's already been in meetings. He wants to be great. And that's why I have no problem saying he is the face of this franchise. I've always wanted a franchise quarterback. It is hard to win in this league without a franchise quarterback. It just is. Now that we have one, there is no more excuses. Now we just have to put it all together.
Now, when you say he got to that point by midseason, what point specifically are you trying to crystallize for listeners out there?
Okay.
When you talk about,
Yes, sir.
he was a certain way
Yes, sir.
in week one. He
Yes,
was a
sir.
certain way in training camp or the preseason. But this is where he is midseason. What's the difference between where he was and where he arrived at midseason? Crystallize that for my listeners in terms of the kind of things you do when you finally arrive compared to the times that you haven't arrived yet.
Right. Well, if you think of it, if you got a bunch of soldiers and you going into a war, you know one of your best fighters or the best fighter is standing in the middle. He's not ready to get in front of everybody and lead the troops, but you know he's there. By mid-season, he was standing in front of the troops, and he was the one taking us. He got to that point by mid-season. There was no more keeping him out the middle of the circle. There was no more he's not speaking up, he's just practicing. Now he's speaking up. When somebody's breaking us down, it's Jameis. When we need somebody to go out and do this, it's Jameis. He was, at that point, and I said it, he was the face of the franchise. And from that point on, that's who he's been. I don't mind saying it, and I think everybody on the team will agree.
When you look at this team right now, it's not just Jameis. It's Doug Martin running for 1,400 yards.
Right.
Mike Evans can play. You're wondering whether or not he can't drop 11 balls like he did last year leading the NFL, but he can play.
Right.
Vincent Jackson, you're hoping his knees are going to be healthy. When you look at this offense right now, what do you think it can be? And outside of Jameis Winston, what has you excited about it?
Well, we had the second leading rusher in the NFL last year, and the way he's playing right now, he's not slowing down a bit. Like you said about Mike Evans, Mike, his natural-born ability and gifts is what got him to where he's at. Now, Mike came in this year. He's been in the best shape I've seen him in since he's been here. So I know that mentally he knows he had to change something. And we'll see as time goes on if it clicks. But what I will say is our first day of pads, Coach put up a couple names on the board. One of those names was Mike Evans for how you're supposed to practice, the tone that's being set. This offseason, Mike was the MVP of this offseason with how he prepared, how he played. So Mike is ready to go. VJack, I never had to worry about VJack. Nobody. We were in meetings the other day, and everybody's sitting down. A guy comes walking in, we hear the door open. Guy comes walking down the steps, and everybody's like, who's coming in like this? He wasn't late, but we had a minute left. VJack comes around the corner, and everybody's like, So that's the type of impact VJack has on us and on this team. So we never have to worry about whether VJack is going to be in place. You put all those pieces together, and our O-line is improving every day. This offense can be really scary.
Coach and the staff said primary concerns coming into the draft was an end pass rusher. You got Robert Ayers, and you got somebody. You needed somebody on your corner. You got Grimes. How are you feeling about those acquisitions?
Rob Ayers is definitely a vet. He's been on a team who's been to the Super Bowl, and he's been around a lot of different top-tier players and vets. So he's seen it all. He knows what it takes to get to the Super Bowl because he's been the one. So having that on your team definitely helps up front, and not just up front, but on the entire defense end. And Grimy, man, he's been Grimes since Atlanta. You know, he's bounced around, but he's always been a consistent player. So bringing in, I think a lot of what our issues were in the past is we didn't have any vets. We brought in some vets that have been around the league. They know what it takes to win because Grimes was on those winning teams in Atlanta. So he knows what it takes to win. I think bringing in those guys, them being vets is more important than really their skill set and their talent.
Last couple of questions. I'm looking at the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a winner of the NFC East.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to win. I mean, that's just the way it goes. Okay. All right. You know Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay going to be there. In the West, you got Arizona. You got Seattle. Leaves the South. Now, you got to win the South, but in order to do it, you got to knock off Cam. And if you can't do that, then you're talking a wild card. You're probably going to have to win 10 games.
Right.
What's the best chance you've got of making the playoffs? Winning 10 games this year or knocking off Cam, Carolina, and the crew?
Both. I think both are right out there for the taking. It's a new year. Denver Broncos won the Super Bowl last year. This is going to be a new Super Bowl winner this year. That's why we have an opportunity to go out there and take it. Carolina was the best last year. It's a completely different season. From season to season, things change. And I truly believe if we keep staying on the path we're on, when it comes down to the end, you'll see the Bucs right up there with the best of them.
Even though y'all haven't made the playoffs the last 13 years.
I believe that.
Thanks a lot, bro.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
My man.
Gerald McCoy of Tampa Bay Buccaneers right here with Stephen A. He swears they're going to be better. I had to bring it up. 70% of passes from the quarterbacks were completed against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year. Quarterbacks completed 70% of their passes and threw for 31 touchdowns. No matter how much better you get, I sincerely doubt you're going to be so good as a defense if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that you're going to eradicate and completely omit what transpired defensively last year. But everybody's excited about Dirk Cutter. Everybody's excited about what he brings to the table. You got to give credit where credit is due. And Jameis Winston, I mean, he came on first take with me earlier this morning and said he'd run through a wall for the man. So he's got the support that he needs. They have the facilities that they need. Can they put it together? Who knows? I got to get on out of here. Had a wonderful first week back from my vacation. I'll talk to y'all on Monday. Look for a Facebook Live post from me this weekend, by the way. I'll make sure I give it to you. It's Stephen A. signing off until Monday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Talk to y'all then, ladies and gentlemen.